Your television possesses a concealed menu. It has been present since the day it was shipped from the factory. Every brand and every model, Samsung, LG, Sony, Vizio, TCL, includes it. This menu contains specific settings that professional calibrators typically charge $300 to modify. You have never been shown this menu before. In the next 9 minutes, I am going to demonstrate exactly how to locate it and precisely which 3 adjustments you need to change. Here is the reality of what is occurring inside your television right now. It did not leave the factory tuned for your specific living room. It left tuned for a retail showroom floor. Recall the last time you walked through a store like Best Buy. You saw 40 televisions lined up in a row under bright fluorescent lights overhead. Every single panel was competing to be the most luminous object in the aisle. Manufacturers calibrate their sets for that specific environment, utilizing a blazing backlight in heavily oversaturated colors. They also crank up a motion smoothing algorithm so high that every cinematic movie looks like it was filmed on a mobile phone back in 2009. You likely noticed this the very first time you watched a film you loved at home. Something felt incorrect. The skin tones appeared orange, the shadows looked washed out, and the motion felt unnatural. It did not feel cinematic or filmic. It just looked like cheap plastic. You probably went into the standard picture settings and tried modes like Vivid, Standard, Cinema, Expert, or Movie. Some made the image worse, but none of them felt right. Here is the exact reason why. The settings required to actually fix these issues are not located in the menu they provided to you. The menu they gave you is not the real menu. Every consumer television has 2 distinct menu systems built into it. The first is the consumer menu you have been using, which controls basic brightness, contrast, sharpness, and color temperature. However, it only operates within a range that the manufacturer has decided you are permitted to access. You have been operating with an intentionally locked down version of your own television. The second system is known as the service menu. Engineers utilize it on the production line to calibrate every individual panel before it ships. It exists entirely underneath the consumer menu. It houses RGB white balance settings down to specific individual gain and offset values. It contains the genuine backlight ceiling, not just the artificial slider range. It also features the motion processing toggle at the core algorithm level, rather than the softened, partial version found in the consumer settings. This menu is accessed through a specific button sequence on your remote control. No tools, no disassembly, and no hardware modifications are required at all. It is simply a combination of buttons that exists in every service manual ever written. These manuals are intended for repair technicians and distributed to authorized service centers, but they are never once promoted to the person who actually purchased the television. However, they are discoverable and they are documented, and I have found them. The sequence is coming, but first you must understand why this information never made it into the box. The television calibration industry generates hundreds of millions of dollars every single year. A certified ISF calibration, which is the standard used by professional home theater installers, typically runs between $200 and $500 per television. The calibrator arrives with a colorimeter, a laptop, and a 2-hour appointment window. What they are doing almost entirely is adjusting the 3 settings I'm about to show you. If Sony printed these button sequences on page 1 of the manual, that entire industry would disappear overnight. If LG included a plain English white balance guide in the box, nobody would pay for professional calibration. These sequences are not secret in a technical sense. They exist in every service manual, but those manuals are written in technician shorthand, distributed only to repair centers, and deliberately never promoted to consumers. The information has always been public. It has simply been invisible. You now know exactly why this menu was never shown to you. Here is how to get inside it. The button sequences vary by brand and model year, so always confirm them against your exact model number. Here is the general approach for the 4 brands covering most living rooms. For Samsung, power the TV off. While the TV is off, press Info, Menu, Mute, and Power in sequence on the remote. Some model years use a slight variation, and a full chart by model year is linked in the description. For LG, simultaneously hold the OK button and the Home button on the remote. Some firmware versions use a slightly different combination, and the full list is in the description. For Sony, on most Bravia models, press Menu and then follow a specific directional button sequence. The exact order depends on whether you have a pre-2020 or post-2020 panel. The description has the breakdown. For Vizio and TCL, both utilize manufacturer-specific sequences, and the full list is in the description below. Getting inside is the easy part. Knowing what to actually touch and what to leave completely alone is what separates a better picture from a brick television. Before you press anything inside the service menu, you must do one thing first. Photograph every screen you can access, every single one. Take pictures with your phone right now. That is your undo button. Service menus on most consumer TVs do not include a restore to defaults option. If you change a value and cannot remember the original number, the only recovery path is a firmware-level factory initialization. Photograph everything before you touch anything. There are exactly 3 settings worth adjusting for picture quality. Number 1 is white balance. Look for a setting called 2-point or 20-point white balance. It will show RGB gain and offset values listed separately. Most TVs ship from the factory with a blue bias, where the blue gain channel runs slightly higher than red or green. This is why white on your screen looks cold instead of neutral, why skin tones skew slightly wrong, and why the whole image feels subtly off even when you cannot name the reason. Lower the blue gain by 1 or 2 points or raise the red gain slightly until a white image on screen looks genuinely white to your eye. Make small adjustments only. Exit the menu, watch real content for 10 minutes, then return if needed. Number 2 is the backlight ceiling. This is the actual maximum brightness value your panel will generate, sitting entirely below the range of the consumer slider. Manufacturers set it high for showroom impact. Lowering it by 15 to 20% reduces power draw, lowers panel operating temperature, and meaningfully extends LED lifespan. The image will still be bright. It will simply be bright without destroying everything in the shadows. Number 3 is motion processing. Look for any setting labeled ME, MC, FRC, or motion enhancement. Switch it off completely. Not low, not reduced, off. The consumer cinema mode often leaves a residual version of this algorithm running even when you select the most film-accurate preset. The service menu kills it at the root. This one adjustment alone is why a calibrated television looks like film, and an uncalibrated one looks like a live news broadcast. Make one change at a time. Exit, watch, then come back. Never try to perfect everything in a single session. Here is the part I did not expect when I went down this rabbit hole. On OLED panels specifically, the service menu typically contains a setting called Pixel Orbit or ASBL, which is anti-screen burn logic. On many sets, this burn-in protection is not active by default when the television leaves the factory. Enabling it costs you nothing visually, but over 3 to 5 years of daily use, it measurably reduces the risk of permanent image retention, which is the primary failure mode of OLED technology. It takes 10 seconds to find and toggle. If you paid $2,000 for an OLED panel, that 10 seconds is worth it. One more thing worth knowing. If you ever sell this television, run a factory initialization from inside the service menu, not the consumer factory reset. The consumer reset does not touch service menu values. The future owner inheriting your calibration changes with no knowledge that they exist is not a situation you want to create. A $300 calibration and settings they never published? Your television is finally working the way it was supposed to work from the day you bought it. Total cost, $0 and about 20 minutes. You will notice the difference the first time you sit down to watch something. If this guide helped you unlock the hidden potential of your screen and saved you hundreds in professional fees, please subscribe to the channel and like this video. We are exposing the technical secrets that manufacturers have tried to keep hidden from the public. Take control of your technology and optimize your viewing experience. Our next deep dive into hidden hardware features will be released soon.